Welcome to what I guess we'll call Founders Day, the Essays. I'm Mel Storm, Professor of English, and this is the second year these awards have been presented online. But online or in person, Emporia State continues to celebrate its history and its students. Today, we once again honor two of our Hornets for the quality of their writing, and we honor once again our university for its ability to change lives. Most of you are familiar with the 1863 Founders Day essay competition. It's now in its 9th year. What began as an annual Christmas gift to the university president from the President's Community Advisory Council metamorphosed in the hands of Michael and Karen Shonrock into a gift to ESU's students. The tradition is carried on, and we owe the advisory group much thanks. Each essay is judged by an interdisciplinary panel of Roe R. Cross distinguished professors. The judging itself is exciting and challenging, and one never knows what treasures it will uncover. Both winners last year were graduate students. This year's winners were both undergraduates, go figure. This year, the judges were Amy Sage Webb-Baza, Galen Wolf Bordenaro, Charles Brown, Rob Catlett, David Eds, Harvey Foyle, Jim Hoy, Patrick Martin, Tess Mehring, Joella Merhoff, Kevin Rabus, Marsh Sundberg, Ken Weaver, and Betsy Yannick. This is a hardworking and discerning bunch, and this year they evaluated 60 essays. I'm deeply grateful for their work, and I'm grateful as well to Gwen Larson, who this year, as she does every year, took charge of publicizing the contest and collecting the entries, then stripping them of the names to make them anonymous, and passing them along to me. Our second place award winner this year is Walleen Morsol. Walleen comes to us from Bangladesh by way of Singapore, where he went to high school, as you'll hear in his essay. He's in his third year of our pre-chemistry engineering dual degree program. His older sister is here at ESU as well, and next year his younger sister will be applying to college. He hopes eventually to get a PhD in chemical engineering. His research interests include energy storage, energy production, and what he refers to as novel materials. I think this is a phrase that means something different to him than it does to an English professor like me. He works at the Brighton Math Lab and the ACES Chemistry Corner as a tutor. Walleen enjoys cooking and running, and his current goal is to run a 5K in under 30 minutes. But he says his work and study schedule sometimes gets in the way of training. Walleen's essay is entitled Saving a Studying Spirit. And here's a somewhat condensed version. You cannot teach an old dog new tricks. I never really liked that proverb. It insinuates that when someone has been doing the same thing for a long time, they do not want to change. A bad student is just a lazy one. These statements could not be further from the truth. In fact, I believe my journey through ESU is exact proof of that. My high school was supposed to be my one-way ticket to fame. In Singapore, after finishing my primary education, I somehow managed to get into one of the elite schools, a high school of math and science for supposedly the cream of the crop. Was I the future of the country? I wanted to go to MIT, but I had a GPA of 2.7, and I had received an F grade in every semester. These grades got to my head, and I would subconsciously assume that I would fail at a task even before I started on it. I would not pay attention in class because I thought I was too dumb to understand what the teacher was saying. Then the school tuition fees for foreign students increased to $2,000 per month. Do I study or do I eat? To my then 16-year-old self, mishaps were happening in batches. In hindsight, every cloud does have a silver lining, and I stumbled across the GED and a chance to study at Emporia State University. My point of inflection for the better would be when I had to choose a major. Having the chance to study any major at ESU without a GPA barrier felt like the school system wholeheartedly trusted in my abilities. Someone out there liked me. Someone believed in me, even though I did not believe in myself. Pre-chemical engineering sounded riveting. I did not know what it was or why I was choosing it. I did not know that it was considered a hard major. I just knew it was something that I had not heard before, but wanted to know about. This pure curiosity drove me forward. My first two professors in physics, Dr. Ballister and Dr. Pettit, were a gift from God. Hearing them explain parabolic motion and how a flea manages to fly in a car going 70 miles an hour was interesting, to say the least. I became interested in the subject, and I began to believe in myself a little bit. Then I had organic chemistry with Dr. Simons, and at the end of it, I was offered a position as a chemistry tutor. I didn't believe I could do it, but Dr. Simons trusted that I could, and by the time I got a chance to work with Dr. Applegate on a research project, I had truly found my purpose in academics. ESU reignited my passion for learning. It created a student with a dream. Having ESU for a part of my journey gave me the confidence I needed to pursue my passion. I'm now in the process of completing my application as a transfer student to MIT to complete the second portion of my dual degree in chemistry and chemical engineering. It'd be great if I got in, but what truly matters is that I was able to overcome my aversion to even fill out the application. I was able to stand up to the voice in my head that said I was not good enough, that I could not do it. Now, if we could bring Wallin on stage, so to speak, for a moment. And here he is. Welcome, Wallin.
Thank you.
As second place winner, Wallin receives an award of $863. Congratulations to you, Wallin. I hope we'll have time for a bit of a chat later. Abe Lemus, our first place winner, is a junior in political science with a concentration in pre-law, minoring in philosophy and public administration. When Abe sent me information for this introduction, I noticed that he said almost as much about his family as he did about himself. You'll find that this spirit carries over into his essay. Last year, he was a student assistant in President Garrett's office. This semester, he's in Washington, D.C. as a legislative intern for Representative Dean Phillips from Minnesota. I'm beginning to think that Abe has some sort of draw toward the halls of power. He's joining us in this virtual meeting remotely from Washington. It makes me feel a little bit like an anchorman. Now, live from Washington, Hornet TV brings you Abe Lemus. Abe is a Trio McNair Scholar. He's been a student senator and an ESU ambassador. He served on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee for ESU, the Hispanic Heritage Month Planning Committee, and the Basic Needs Coalition. He likes working out, reading, taking his dogs on walks, and most importantly, he says, no surprise here, spending time with his family. Abe's essay is entitled The Power of Emporia State University. And here it is, slightly abbreviated, the essay that is, not the power. My parents immigrated over 1,500 miles to establish a family in a country that was stable and prosperous. They came with a fifth grade education, knowing no English and having little to no money to their name. But they slowly worked their way up and gained citizenship, bought a house, and laid roots in Emporia for their children to prosper. Through the many blessings we received, my parents instilled in us that education is the great equalizer in our society. They believed that my siblings and I would be able to do anything that we set our minds to. Through their help, all attended Emporia State University. My oldest brother graduated with a BS in accounting and a master's in accountancy. My other brother graduated with a BS in health and human performance. And my sister graduated with a BS in nursing. All have excelled in their careers. Beginning college during a global pandemic, I have survived and persevered. My personal love for public service, law, activism, and politics challenges me to enhance my own personal knowledge by finding opportunities that can enrich my intellectual life and leadership. As a McNair Scholar, I'm looking forward to expanding my research skills to take me forward to law school, a goal that has been on my mind since the day my godmother was deported. I wish I could say that in 5 years, I will be able to work on her case and bring her back. I cannot. She's no longer on this earth. But although she is gone, the legalities she ran into still impact immigrants of today, and they will continue to impact many more tomorrow. My godmother's case inspired me to pursue law. Her legacy will continue to guide me forward. Being a person of color has exposed me to several aspects of the many social injustices within our society. However, I aspire to learn more about our everyday inequities and ways to address them in a conversational and scholarly manner. I believe change is needed to ensure that a community feels safe, and change will come with the power of higher education. Public service allows me to influence my community and those around me in a positive way, and it allows me to give back and give others a voice to depend on. Our communities of color have been neglected and impacted by systematic oppression, police brutality, racial and ethnic disparities, and imprisonment. I plan to pursue a career as a lawyer who defends and fights against social injustice. I aim to be an advocate of change. Emporia State University has allowed me to be the person I never knew I could be. Trio McNair told me that failure was not an option. Therefore, I am a scholar who loves to learn endlessly. I strive to enrich myself in different fields of academia, cultures, and perspectives. As of right now, I can only expand my knowledge, grow my research skills, and become a leader within my community. But later, as a lawyer and active citizen, I will be a leader for adaptive change in our society. And now, if we could bring Abe on stage for a moment. Welcome, Abe. As first place winner, Abe receives an award of $1,000. Congratulations, Abe.
Thank you.
And if Wallene can join us, we'll see our winners together. And I think we have a bit of time here. I do have a few questions that I'd like to follow up with, if they don't mind, and if you out there have the time to listen to it. I want to talk, Wallene, to you first. I was just looking at a globe this morning, actually, to remind myself of where you have been. You started out in Bangladesh. You went to Singapore, Bangladesh to Singapore to Emporia. That's a circuitous and very, very long route. How did you come to go to Singapore in the first place?
Well, so I think that's related to my dad. He was a seaman, like he worked in the ship. He was a ship captain, but that just means that he didn't have the chance to be with our family, because he would be in the ship all the time. So then Singapore, which is essentially a port country, that's where we moved as a family so that me and my parents and my sisters could live together. Like we could live with our dad instead of like not seeing him for like 2 years in one go.
It's kind of a dramatic story. The family went down to the sea in ships. It's gonna be something right out of Melville. How did you learn about Emporia State?
So I was searching up universities, and Emporia State was offered the diversity scholarship to foreign nationals that gave me in-state tuition, and that was how I chose Emporia State. And then my uncle does live in Kansas, so that was like he sent me some of the schools from Kansas. So.
Okay, that's good. That's good too. I didn't think that we had a remote campus in Singapore or something like Plum Hall East. Maybe that's something we should consider. But we're very glad that you're here. And Abe, you seem to be living the dream right now. Tell us a little bit about what it's like in Washington. What's like for you in Washington? What's your experience like?
No, it's definitely always been a dream of mine to, pursue a legislative internship. And I mean, some people might call me crazy for doing it still in the middle of a pandemic. It's not been the easiest at all. I mean, you're in person, you're hybrid, navigating life in DC in the middle of a pandemic hasn't been the easiest. It's not like it used to be. But that's the main point. You got to persevere and you got to push forward and make way and like make do with what you have. So it's definitely been amazing so far. Learned so much, and I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity to, do a legislative internship.
How do you get an internship like that? I noticed that you're working with a Minnesota congressman. How did this come about?
Oh, I mean, everybody I spoke to, it's apply everywhere. It's not like it used to be anymore. Internships are cut back just because staff offices are working remote and all this and that. However, I was very fortunate to meet some amazing people from Kansas who kind of had some more information about BC and where to apply for. And Representative Dean Phillips' office has a really amazing internship program. So I was very fortunate to be accepted, be interviewed, and will be a part of their team now.
I have to ask, never having been an intern, what's a typical day like for you?
That's a good question.
If there is
Most legislative internships are like doing administrative work, which I was very familiar with doing in President Garrett's office. But this internship's a little bit more just, I don't know how to explain it. It's a little bit better just because they treat you as part of the team. They don't make you do all administrative work. They carry you on and they ask if you want to participate in some research projects or look at policies. And that's definitely what I'm interested in. So, like I said, I'm very fortunate to be a part of their team.
Yeah, they obviously keep you pretty closely engaged in what is going on. That does sound great. It's good talking to the two of you, and I do want once again to congratulate these two fine students and these two fine writers. It's young people like these who keep old people like me in my profession going. When we look at them and when we listen to them, I think we get a glimpse into the future. And it does, at least for me, make the future seem a little bit brighter. Thanks to all of you who have joined us for Founders Day 2022. Happy Founders Day to you. And I look forward to seeing you again in 2023.